Is Coco going for bipolar? Because that's the...
Who got into his bed first?
Well, I never said I would. Maybe you annexed his bed.
Then what are you doing in his bed? Did somebody put you there? No, you got yourself into his bed.
Yeah. He's a bed on. It's all about real estate. Let's be clear. Guys, see the blankets.
Don't know that.
So, someone who was in a cult. It was similar to SB, if you're familiar with that. It's a personal development group. And the theme was to make the world better, which to me sounds amazing. So I'm like, yeah, I'll, join this group of people and, learn about myself. And I learned a lot about myself. There was a lot of positive things that came out of that. But the negative part was that the groupthink part, I think, which happens in most cults, where there were things that I didn't like about it, and I was not freely able to voice my opinions on it. Otherwise, I was shut down. And when I did decide to leave, the people that I had met and the great community that I met were no longer part of my circle. I was kind of not necessarily shunned, just dismissed, and that was it. And I lost a lot of people that I spent a lot of time making relationships with. So,
I could tell.
Yeah, I think it depends on what the mission statement is for the cult, and does it align with what your values are?
Cults rely upon conformity, and so going back to that in-group, out-group dynamic. And to some extent, you could even argue that, culture at large follows this formula, essentially. And then the question becomes...
Being a Christian, do you think that he deserves the hate that he gets on this app?
I think people deserve what they get.
I think a lot of people project.
I think people deserve what they get. I don't.
From your mouth to God's ears, that's all I can say.
I don't believe in not deserving.
I mean, he can be ostentatious, but dude, 90% of the time, he's 10 times smarter than I am. Dude, especially when it comes to the Bible. Because he could say my side and his side and make me feel stupid at the same time. Like, I'm like, yo, no wonder I lost that debate to your little punk ass. But the kid is fucking brilliant in so many ways. And I think that people just, unfortunately, because of his age, just want to be debaucherous.
Well, like I said, that's their problem.
Fudge.
To me, it's like payroll. Everybody deserves what they're paid. Nobody is overpaid and nobody is underpaid. You get what you deserve.
Yeah, I give a crap less whether you tell me to dig a ditch or feel this shit. I'll just ask you how deep and in what direction. I don't care. Like, whatever I'm doing. You can tell me to dig a ditch to feel this shit or fix somebody who has their leg blown off. I'll do both. Like, I don't really freaking care. But some people they get on their high horse like, oh my God, I know how to fix somebody's broken leg. I don't need to dig a ditch. I'm like, yeah, that's not my personality, Steve.
I hear you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You think anonymous at the bottom is Kitover? that dog doesn't bother me, dude. I can hear it, but it doesn't bother me, Steve. It's not that loud. That's what your dog's doing right now.
What did you ask me about Anonymous?
I said, do you think Anonymous is John Kitover?
I have no idea who it is.
You want me to get John Kitover to come in here? I'll call him on my other phone.
No, that's up to Kitover. I mean, if he wants to come in, yeah.
No, but you do know that he's the one that brought me into this app, right?
You do know that there's a good chance that he's going to be put up on fraud election charges, right?
I have nothing to do with any of that. That's on him.
I didn't say you had anything to do with that. I said my understanding is he's coming very close to being charged with fraud for election fraud.
Well, I mean, let the SEC deal with it.
Hey, it's not me. It's not me. I didn't give him any money.
I did. A bunch. I told you I spent a lot of money last year. Well, this year.
Hello.
Hi, happy New Year. Is it Mackay?
Mackay, yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mackay.
Happy New Year from Godfield, man.
Happy New Year from the atheist.
Yeah, is the atheist just like a nickname, like an oxymoron type thing? Because you're not actually an atheist, are you?
Yes, I am actually. Sherry, you mind if I talk to him? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and go on mute if you don't mind. Thank you. Thank you. No, I am actually an atheist. I've actually been an atheist for 25 years now.
How?
The answer to how is that I haven't believed in God for 25 years. That's how.
Okay, but you acknowledge God is real.
Excuse me?
Obviously, you acknowledge God is real. You just don't believe in God.
What do you mean knowledge is real? I don't understand.
I said, oh, yes, my accent. I said you acknowledge God is real. You just don't believe in God.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should close the door. It's my dog. But are you saying that knowledge is real? I just don't believe in God. Is that what you said?
He's asking, are you an atheist or are you agnostic?
Okay, I already answered that. I answered I've been an atheist for 25 years. I answered that already.
Yeah, but
so the answer is to you, sir. He doesn't acknowledge that God is anything.
Stereo, can I talk to him? And then
UNBA has working for them is that you get college players for at least 3 years. So you get to grow with them. You get to see the rivalries. And if you've been watching this really since around Maya Moore's run in college, like the women.
God of forgiveness, of redemption. I mean, he demonstrates his love for sin that while we're sinners, Christ died for us. And I think it's important to understand who he is. I was just looking up Jeffrey Dahmer this morning. I had a conversation.
Like, what, bitch? Let me out here. I did not know coming to get some wine and fruit meant that I was signing up for the goddamn game. What the hell?
But yeah, it's crazy.
You guys see that Netflix is about to drop season 2 of Squid Games: The Challenge. If y'all saw Squid Games the series, they did a reality game show off of Squid Game 1 that came out a couple years ago. Squid Game 2, the reality.
Man is man. Thou art mindful of him. Man being the subject of these essays. It is first proper to explain what will be meant therein by the word. Man is a microcosm, that is an image, concentrated around the point of consciousness, of the macrocosm or universe. This theorem is guaranteed by the hylo-idealistic demonstration that the perceptible universe is an extension or phantasm of the nervous system. It follows that all phenomena, internal and external, may be classified for the purpose of discussing their observed relations in any manner, which experience may show to be the most convenient. Examples: the elaborate classifications of science, chemical, physical, etc., etc. There is no essential truth in any of these aids to thinking. Convenience is the sole measure. Now, for the purposes of analyzing the spiritual nature of man, recording and measuring his experiences in this kind of planning his progress to loftier heights of attainment, several systems have been devised. That of the Abhidhamma is on the surface alike the most practical, the most scientific, and the most real. But for European students, it is certainly far too unwieldy, to say nothing of other lines of criticism. Therefore, despite the danger of vagueness involved in the use of the system, whose terms are largely symbolic, I have, for many reasons, preferred to present to the world as an international basis for classification, classical mathematical system which is vulgarly and erroneously, though conveniently, called Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, that is the Jewish tradition, concerning the initiated interpretation of the scriptures, is mostly either unintelligible or nonsense. But it contains as its ground plan the most precious jewel of human thought, that geometrical arrangement of names and numbers, which is called the Tree of Life. Call it most precious, because I have found it the most convenient method hitherto discovered of classifying the phenomena of the universe and recording their relations, whereof the proof is the amazing fertility of thought which has followed my adoption of this scheme. Since all phenomena, soever may be referred to the tree of life, which may be multiplied or subdivided at will for convenience's sake, it is evidently useless to attempt any complete account of it. The correspondences of each unit, the 10 Sephiroth, and the 22 paths are infinite. Art of using it consists principally in referring all our ideas to it, discovering thus the common nature, certain things, and the essential differences between others, so that ultimately one obtains a simple view of the incalculably vast complexity of the universe. The whole subject must be studied in the book 777, and the main attributions committed to memory. Then, when by constant use, the system is at last understood as opposed to being merely memorized, the student will find fresh light break in on him at every turn as he continues to measure every item of new knowledge that he attains by this standard. For to him the universe will then begin to appear as a coherent and a necessary whole. For the purpose of studying these little essays, it will be sufficient if a bare outline of cosmic theory, which they imply be given, but it may be added that the fuller the comprehension of the tree of life, which the reader brings to them, the clearer will their thought appear and more cogent their conclusions. The constitution of man is fivefold. Number 1, Yechida. This is the quintessential principle of the soul, that which makes man at the same time identical with every other spark of Godhead. A different principle and different as regards his point of view.
Is that T-Robs? Motherfucker.
And the universe of which it is the center from all others. It is a point. Processing only position, and that position is only definable by reference to coordinate axes, to secondary principles which only pertain to it per accidens, must be postulated as our conception grows to Chaya. This is the creative impulse or will of Yachida, the energy which demands the formulation of the coordination axes, therefore said so that Yachida may obtain self-realization, formal understanding of what is implicit in its nature of its possible qualities. 3 Neshama. This is the faculty of understanding the word Chaya. It is the intelligence or intuition of what Yachida wishes to discover about itself. These 3 principles constitute a trinity. They are one, because they represent the being, the apparatus which will make the manifestation possible of a God and manhood. But they are only, so to speak, the mathematical structure of man's nature. One might compare them with the laws of physics, as they are before they are discovered. There are as yet no data by whose examination they may be discovered. A conscious man, accordingly, cannot possibly know anything of these 3 principles, although they constitute his essence. It is the work of initiation to journey inwards to them. See the oath of a probationer of AA, I pledge myself to discover the nature and powers of my own being. Its triune principle being wholly spiritual, all that can be said about it is really negative, and it is complete in itself. Beyond it stretches what is called the abyss. This doctrine is extremely difficult to explain, but it corresponds more or less to the gap in thought between the real, which is ideal, and the unreal, which is actual. In the abyss, all things exist, indeed at least in pose, or in posse, but are without an impossible meaning. They lack the substratum of spiritual reality. They are appearances without law. They are thus insane delusions. Now the abyss, being thus the great storehouse of phenomena, it is the source of all impressions, and the triune principle has intended a machine for investigating the universe. And this machine is the 4th principle of man. Number 4, Ruach. This may be translated mind, spirit, or intellect. None of the interpretation varying with every writer. The Ruach is a closely knitted group of 5 moral and intellectual principles concentrated on their core. Tifareth, the principle of harmony, the human consciousness and will of which the 4 other Sephiroth are, so to speak, the feelers. And these 5 principles culminate in a 6th Da'ath, knowledge. But this is not really a principle. It contains in itself the germ of self-contradiction and so of self-destruction. It is a false principle, for as soon as knowledge is analyzed, it breaks up into the irrational dust of the abyss. Man's aspiration to knowledge is thus simply a false road. It is to spin ropes of sand. We cannot here enter into the doctrine of the full volume invented to explain in a parable how it is that the universe is so unfortunately constituted. We are concerned only with the observed facts. All these mental and moral faculties of the Ruach, where not purely spiritual like the supernal triad, are still, as it were, in the air. To be of use, they need a basis through which to receive impressions, much as a machine requires fuel and fodder before it can manufacture the article which it is designed to produce. Number 5, nefesh. This is usually translated the animal soul. It is the vehicle of the Ruach, the instrument by which the mind is brought into contact with the dust of matter in the abyss, that it may feel it, judge it, and react to it. This is itself a principle still spiritual in a sense. The actual body of a man is composed of the dust of matter, temporarily held together by the principles which inform it for their own purposes, and ultimately for the supreme purpose of self-realization of Yechida, with nefesh, devised as it is with no other object. Then the direct traffic with matter tends to partake of its incoherence, its faculties of perceiving pain and pleasure, lure it into paying undue attention to one set of phenomena, into shunning another. Hence, for the nefesh to do its work as it should, it requires to be dominated by the severest discipline, nor is the ruach itself to be trusted in this matter. It has its own tendencies to weakness and injustice. It tries every trick, and it is diabolically clever to arrange its business with matter in the sense most convenient to its inertia, without the smallest consideration of its duality to the supernal triad, cut off as that is from its comprehension, indeed unsuspecting as it normally is of its existence. What then determines Tifereth, the human will, to aspire to comprehend the Shama, to submit itself to the divine will of Chaya? Nothing but the realization, born sooner or later, of agonizing experience, that its whole relation to Ruach and Nefesh, with matter, i.e. with the universe, is and must be only painful. Senselessness of the whole procedure sickens it. It begins to seek for some menstruum in which the universe may become intelligible, useful, and enjoyable. Kabbalistic language, it aspires to neshama. This is what we mean in saying that the trance of sorrow is the motive of the great work. This trance of sorrow, which must be well distinguished from any petty personal despair, any conviction of sin, or other black magical imitations, being cosmic in scope, comprehending all phenomena, actual or potential, is then already an opening of the sphere, neshama, the awareness of one's misfortune is itself an indication of the remedy, sets the seeker on the right road, and as he develops his neshama, he soon attains. Other experiences of this high order the meaning of his own true will. To pronounce his own word. To identify himself. Chaya. Finally realizing Chaya is the dynamic aspect of Yoshida. He becomes a pure being, at once universal and individual, equally nothing, one and all. It is of the essence of the ideas of the supreme triad that the laws of reason, which apply to intellectual functions, are no longer operative. Hence, it is impossible to convey the nature of these experiences in rational language. Further, the scope is infinite in every direction, so that it would be futile to attempt to enumerate or to describe them in detail. All that one can do is to note the common types in very general language and to indicate what experience is shown to be the most useful main line of research. The quest of the Holy Grail, the search for the stone of the philosophers, by whatever name we choose to call the great work, is therefore endless. Success only opens up new avenues of brilliant possibility. Yea, verily, and amen. The task is tireless and its joys without bounds, for the whole universe and all that in it is. What is it but the infinite playground of the crown, and conquering child of the insatiable, the innocent, the ever-rejoicing air of space and eternity, whose name is man? Man, what is man? That thou art mindful of him. Man.
Recently, and the good thing about Johnny Haas and Prashant, they're both reformed. And you might not hold to that sort of doctrine.
I can't judge a man for what he does, and I got to show respect for men and women.
Now, the way I look at it, I happen to currently attend a Pentecostal
And being
church.
the subject of these essays, it is just proper to explain what will be meant therein by the word. Man is a microcosm, that is an image concentrated around the point of consciousness of the macrocosm or universe. This theorem is guaranteed by the hylo-idealistic demonstration that the perceptible universe is an extension or phantasm of the nervous system. It follows that all phenomena, internal and external, may be classified for the purpose of discussing their observed relations in any manner, which experience may show to be the most convenient. Examples: the elaborate classifications of science, chemical, physical, etc., etc. There is no essential truth in any of these aids to thinking. Convenience is the sole measure. Now, for the purposes of
Is that Harry Balzac?
the spiritual
Stop
nature
it,
of man,
Engelbert!
for core
Baby!
measuring his
BB, great work on the TikTok. It's coming along. Good work. But they banned me. They kicked me from the TikTok. They kicked me in the TikTok. I'm studying Kabbalah here. I know you gentlemen don't spend any time studying. All you do is engage ruthless.
Yo, bro, turn off the replays. I want to ask you something.
No, bro. I do everything on replays here, bro.
Okay, what's this I heard about the room the other night that was open, that the FBI came to JB's house up kicked off the bat?
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, BB, but I'm a very public person. And, I'd be happy to share with you my resume, my birth certificate, my social security card.
No, I'm just saying, is that true? They're saying fraud and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Off?
It's bullshit. My point is, JB, aka the pimp, aka the convicted rapist, who Harry Balzac down there knows is a flip-flopper, lying piece of shit. He's using me and my good name to slander, defame me. The truth is, I didn't commit any fraud. In no way, shape, or form. I ran a completely transparent campaign, filmed everything, onboarded everybody publicly. They had to come to Clubhouse and they had to interview. And that's what upset people, is that I put people through a job interview process to be a circulator here on Clownhouse. Everything, BB, I film 24 hours a day of my life and put it on YouTube. If there's any fraud, it's in the YouTube videos, and there is no fraud. BB, hold on. What there is a bunch of gossiping, Lashon Hara, pot stirring, Dago, Guinea, mafioso piece of shits on here who want to play the newsmaker and use my good name, and a man who has run for Congress, a distinguished U.S. Army military intelligence officer, former infantry soldier. What I'm telling you, BB, is we ain't got a fraud problem. We got a Guinea problem, a Dago problem. You know what I'm saying? We got an Italian problem named Jay Bresca, who's apparently Jewish, part of the community. And so what I would like to propose to, one of the leaders of the Jewish community, you and Dr. Balsack here, I would like to officially initiate, unfortunately, we're going to have to look up the Hebrew term, but we're going to have to officially kick out Jay Bresca from the Jewish community because he's not Jewish. And he's going around claiming that he's Jewish when we all know Jay Bresca, that Dago Guinea motherfucker, is not Jewish. He's a Dago, and he's a Guinea. Anyways, I rest my case.
Did you get kicked out from the party and shit?
I got kicked off of the ballot for insufficient signatures, and the politicians and the lawyers and the judges want to play a dramatic game and accuse me of fraud because I embarrassed them all by running for Congress and calling them out for being a bunch of scam artists, and that's exactly what they are. There's no due process, no fair administrative trial. They don't allow me to bring evidence. They don't allow me to call witnesses. They don't allow me to subpoena. They do not conduct a trial. They kick you off the ballot. They audited my petitions, but didn't audit the incumbent, Darren LaHood. And they didn't audit the Democrat candidate, despite my challenge, my objections, my legal pleadings. They ignore it all. And so that's why they're accusing me of fraud, because they themselves are the fraud that they accuse me of. Everything is projection, BB. It's a fact.
Okay. No, that's fucked up.
A lot of losers on this app project their opinions and then they claim it's a fact. And that's a fact. That's the only fact of this fucking app. And losers like Jay Bresca, who got nothing in their life except for Dr. Kitover and Dr. Pepe and other losers. Trust me, BB. There's a saying, to be slandered or to be defamed or to be spoken evil of is a kingly thing. Running for Congress is a very kingly thing. And, I don't know what to tell you. I got nothing in my bag of shame. There's nothing here. I didn't commit any fraud. I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't steal. And I'm not tolerating those who do, like Jay Bresca, a convicted pimp, a rapist. Sent to jail for raping women, raping them. That means having sex with them against their will and threatening them with violence. That's the kind of piece of shit he is. So when a piece of shit like that comes on an app like this and publicly besmirches me, defames me, libels me, and slanders me, I will fight back against these Guinea mafioso convicted rapist, pimp, associated mafia felons like Jay the fake Jew Bresca.
Yeah. bedroom, and they said they were going to play a video about you, Pepe, and JP, but they were waiting for all the Jews to come so they could embarrass us or something. I don't know what the fuck they were saying.
Well, because I film everything over here in my office in my underpants, guys like Amir are using me now as their content.
I know.
Because they have no contentment in their lives. They have to use my content of contentment in their lives. You know, I've told you this before, BB. I didn't like you in the beginning. But, you know, the truth is, El Norma was like, John, take it easy. BB, let BB be aspirational. And I said, you know what? You're right. Why do I have a negative opinion of him or anyone? Let people explore their thoughts. Let them explore, you know, speech. And, you know, I'm not opposed to anybody coming on here and stirring the pot. But when you use me as the subject of your defamation, slander, and libel, I will always fight back. I am compelled to, because I will not let convicted rapists and felons and pimps and FBI informants and liars. The FBI never showed up at his door. You think to tell me that loudmouth gossiping whore of an Italian dago 2 weeks ago, the FBI showed up at his front door and asked him 2 questions? He's such a fucking liar. He's claiming that the FBI asked him about campaign finance fraud. What, 2 weeks ago? And he comes on here 2 weeks later and says, oh yeah, by the way, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even think about it, but these fucking FBI agents showed up at my fucking door asking me about John Kittle, because I'm the number one fucking donor. So, you know, 2 weeks later go by and I'm like, hey, why don't I create a room about this fucking guy? Hey, and I'll invite Dr. Adams, the F-word, N-word, and Marshall fucking Rankin, and all the other clown house losers that I have roasted for fucking years. And we will slander John Kitover. So I recorded it. It's all on Clubhouse. It's all on YouTube. You can listen to my live play-by-play Mystery Science Theater 3000 response room where I roast them for being the losers that they are. And then he messages me on TikTok. I screenshot his TikTok messages. I put it on my TikTok. Then my TikTok gets permanently suspended. So you tell me, we all know how reporting works. When an F-word, N-word, dago, or anybody else reports you enough on enough accounts, eventually some little Filipino geek is going to delete your account because they don't give a fuck. So anyways, glad we got that cleared up a little further.
Experiences in this kind.
Yeah, I'm always available to talk, but I don't like going in other people's rooms where he invited me. He says, come to me in Nye's room and we'll mod you up and, you know, it will clear the stage for you. It's like, bro, I don't really care about coming on your show. You can come to my room anytime you want and I'll green bean you. But I'm not going to play his stupid mute game where first of all, the guy has insulted me for many, many years. And the fact of the matter is, I'm using him. It's not the other way around. And so, you know, I'll call you. Don't call me. All right, well, we're here doing a Kabbalah study. This was my study yesterday. I'm about to continue it, actually. If you like Kabbalah, this is for you.
Planning his progress to loftier heights of attainment. Several systems have been devised. That of the Abhidhamma is on the surface alike the most practical, the most scientific, and the most real. But for European students, it is certainly far too unwieldy, to say nothing of other lines of criticism. Therefore, despite the danger of vagueness involved in the use of a system, whose terms are largely symbolic, I have, for many reasons, preferred to present to the world as an international basis for classification, classical mathematical system, which is vulgarly and erroneously, though conveniently called Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, that is the Jewish tradition concerning the initiated interpretation of the scriptures, is mostly either unintelligible or nonsense. But it contains as its ground plan the most precious jewel of human thought, that geometrical arrangement of names and numbers, which is called the tree of life. Call it most precious, because I have found it the most convenient method hitherto discovered of classifying the phenomena of the universe and recording their relations, whereof the proof is the amazing fertility of thought which has followed my adoption of this scheme. Since all phenomena, soever may be referred to the tree of life, which may be multiplied or subdivided at will for convenience's sake, it is evidently useless to attempt any complete account of it. The correspondences of each unit, the 10 Sephiroth, and the 22 paths are infinite. Art of using it consists principally in referring all our ideas to it, discovering thus the common nature of certain things and the essential differences between others, so that ultimately one obtains a simple view of the incalculably vast complexity of the universe. The whole subject must be studied in the book 777, and the main attributions committed to memory. Then, when by constant use, the system is at last understood as opposed to being merely memorized, the student will find fresh light break in on him at every turn as he continues to measure every item of new knowledge that he attains by this standard. For to him the universe will then begin to appear as a coherent and a necessary whole. For the purpose of studying these little essays, it will be sufficient if a bare outline of cosmic theory, which they imply be given, but it may be added that the fuller the comprehension of the tree of life, which the reader brings to them, the clearer will their thought appear and more cogent their conclusions. The constitution of man is fivefold. Number 1, Yechida. This is the quintessential principle of the soul, that which makes man at the same time identical with every other spark of Godhead. Indifferent principle and different as regards his point of view, and the universe of which it is the center from all others. It is a point processing only position, and that position is only definable by reference to coordinate axes, to secondary principles which only pertain to it per accidens, must be postulated as our conception grows to Chaya. This is the creative impulse or will of Yechida, the energy which demands the formulation of the coordination axes, therefore said so that Yechida may obtain self-realization, formal understanding of what is implicit in its nature of its possible qualities. 3 Neshama. This is the faculty of understanding the word Chaya. It is the intelligence or intuition of what Yechida wishes to discover about itself. These 3 principles constitute a trinity. They are one, because they represent the being, the apparatus which will make the manifestation possible of a God in manhood. But they are only, so to speak, the mathematical structure of man's nature. One might compare them with the laws of physics, as they are before they are discovered. There are as yet no data by whose examination they may be discovered. The conscious man, accordingly, cannot possibly know anything of these three principles, although they constitute his essence. It is the work of initiation to journey inwards to them. Seeing the oath of a probationer of AA, I pledge myself to discover the nature and powers of my own being. Is triune principle being wholly spiritual? All that can be said about it is really negative, and it is complete in itself. Beyond it stretches what is called the abyss. This doctrine is extremely difficult to explain, but it corresponds more or less to the gap in thought between the real, which is ideal, and the unreal, which is actual. In the abyss, all things exist, indeed at least in pose, or in posse, but are without an impossible meaning. They lack the substratum of spiritual reality. They are appearances without law. They are thus insane delusions. Now the abyss, being thus the great storehouse of phenomena, it is the source of all impressions, and the triune principle has intended a machine for investigating the universe. And this machine is the fourth principle of man. Number 4, Ruach. This may be translated mind, spirit, or intellect. None of these is satisfactory, connotation varying with every writer. The Ruach is a closely knitted group of 5 moral and intellectual principles concentrated on their core. Tifareth, the principle of harmony, the human consciousness and will of which the 4 are the Sephiroth are, so to speak, the feelers. And these 5 principles culminate in a 6th Da'ath, knowledge. But this is not really a principle. It contains in itself the germ of self-contradiction and so of self-destruction. It is a false principle, for as soon as knowledge is analyzed, it breaks up into the irrational dust of the abyss. Man's aspiration to knowledge is thus simply a false road. It is to spin ropes of sand. We cannot here enter into the doctrine of the full volume, invented to explain in a parable how it is that the universe is so unfortunately constituted. We are concerned only with the observed facts. All these mental and moral faculties of the Ruach, whether purely spiritual like the supernal triad,
memory is of the very stuff of consciousness itself. Consider that we can never know what is happening, but only what has just happened. Even when most actively concentrated on what we call the present, Moreover, no impression short of samadhi can ever pretend to confer any coherent idea of the self. That exists only in an order of consciousness far deeper than direct perception. In a type of thought which is capable of combining the quintessence of countless impressions into one, is also of transforming this tabula rasa into a positive, prehensile ego. Whether this process be hallucinatory or no, it is surely memory, which more than any other function of the mind determines its possibilities. Now, whatever view we may take of the nature of the self, it is clear that our limit of error will constantly diminish as the range of our observations is extended. To calculate the orbit of Neptune from a period of days when it is retrograde could lead to formidable fallacies. When memory is seriously weakened, the resulting state approximates to dementia. Memory is then, in our figure, the mortar of the architecture of the mind.
Hello? Fuck. Okay. It's just that I wanted to state that trickle down doesn't work. We've tried it in England on the ambition of the Conservative Party, and it never actually worked. In fact, it created a recession because shareholders and directors will keep the money to themselves in their either endeavors or in their pockets.
Thanks. The London perspective. Appreciate it.
Anyway, to answer the brother's question, he's saying like, what is a poppin' economy? What models lead to a successful economy? That is the question. Well, correct, Rob? You're saying like what really works driving economies?
Yes.
So we can have that conversation. I'll just chime in. I know somebody can start it off, but I'll chime in if somebody sets it off. So we need to look at burgeoning economies. We can look at the industrial revolution. We can look at different phases and see, what time was it in America that people prospered. So yeah, we can do that.
We have to go.
We don't have to. We don't have to. We don't have to. But I just want to clarify the question. It's up to you.
I mean, oh, go ahead, neoliberal, because you'll probably make sure.
Yeah, the answer for the United States is New Deal, 1933, 38. Growth rates higher than since, 30 years after 33, right up until the, I guess, 70s, right? Mid-70s, you had New Deal type of an economy, which has higher growth rates many times since, on average.
That's right.
So that way.
Yeah, and you see the idea that the founding fathers of this country knew, don't let these individuals that represent the people start making all this money and running the Federal Reserve, and don't let that happen. And that went by the wayside. Hold on, bro. Hold on. I gave a lot of respect to everybody else. Let me just land my plane. And so the idea was that, you make $180,000 a year, whatever. they understood, because they was coming from England, and they understood we got to set this thing up in a protected kind of way, because to Concrete's words, his words, that's his point, but the words of human nature has proven, human beings, if you don't have guardrails and say, okay, look here, this ain't no job where you can just make a whole millions of dollars off the people. You represent the people, government of the people, by the people, for the people. So the idea is you're representing the masses of the people. And so this trickle-down idea is very rooted in spirituality and doing the right thing and morals. But when all that
Palestinians willing to be views, they need a basis through which to receive impressions, much as a machine requires fuel and fodder before it can make.
So I mentioned this earlier when the room was much smaller. I'm fairly entertained. I looked in my back channel requests, people I don't know, and now the weird the scam women at the bottom are being suggestive while calling me Mr. Jeff.
Mr. Jeff.
Yes, Mr. Jeff. I think you're very nice. I like the formality of it.
This is when I'm so autistic, I can't help myself.
Share your autism with us.
I can't. Every time it happens, I was okay, so my brain, sometimes people will say something and then it triggers a word. So then every time somebody says Mr. Jeff, I'm like, oh, slavery.
Don't even get me started. Don't get me started. Because Jeff knows I'm banned from saying it because it's so funny, but I get it's not cool. But it's definitely evokes something. So I get fun from saying
Mr. Jeff?
Well, as long as they don't say Master Jeff, we good.
That's exactly. Master Jeff?
That's what we're going to do, what I like to call a problem.
I fucking can't, man.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Jeff is fine.
Thank you, Master Jeff.
Oh, Mr. Jeff.
I know, it's
just close enough, yeah.
It's just so fucked up, man. And then
Can I just say
funny.
real talk? That's why it worked the whole time.
I know.
The whole time. Oh, dude. Shout out to all the ladies. Hello.
Yeah, and there's just there's more to this, but we should stop while we're behind, right?
Dude, 1865 level.
Whoa. You know what, though? It's not even 1865. I again, need to...
Mr. Jeff. Mr. Lawrence.
Where's Sarah?
The gummy bear is laughing.
No more cotton suits.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
This is the second time someone's brought up cotton in the last 8 hours that I've been around.
Okay, gotta go get my eyebrows done. BR.
Okay. Christ loses none that.
We can manufacture the article which it is designed to produce. Number 5, nefesh. This is usually translated the animal soul. It is the vehicle of the ruach, the instrument by which the mind is brought into contact with the dust of matter in the abyss, that it may feel it, judge it, and react to it. This is itself a principle, still spiritual in a sense. The actual body of a man is composed of the dust of matter, temporarily held together by the principles which inform it, for their own purposes and ultimately for the supreme purpose of self-realization of Yechida, Nefesh, devised as it is with no other object. Then the direct traffic with matter tends to partake of its incoherence, its faculties of perceiving pain and pleasure, lure it into paying undue attention to one set of phenomena, into shunning another. Hence, for the nefesh to do its work as it should, it requires to be dominated by the severest discipline, nor is the ruach itself to be trusted in this matter. It has its own tendencies to weakness and injustice. It tries every trick, and it is diabolically clever to arrange its business with matter in the sense most convenient to its inertia, without the smallest consideration of its duality to the supernal triad, but off as that is from its comprehension, indeed unsuspecting as it normally is of its existence. What then determines Tifereth? The human will to aspire to comprehend the Shama, to submit itself to the divine will of Chaya. Nothing but the realization, born sooner or later, of agonizing experience, that its whole relation to Ruach and Nefesh, with matter, i.e. with the universe, is and must be only painful. Senselessness of the whole procedure sickens it. It begins to seek for some menstruum in which the universe may become intelligible, useful, and enjoyable. Kabbalistic language, it aspires to neshama. This is what we mean in saying that the trance of sorrow is the motive of the great work. This trance of sorrow, which must be well distinguished from any petty personal despair, any conviction of sin, or other black magical imitations, being cosmic in scope, comprehending all phenomena actual, potential, is then already an opening of the sphere of Neshama, the awareness of one's misfortune is itself an indication of the remedy. It sets the seeker on the right road and as he develops his neshama, he soon attains. Other experiences of this high order. He learns the meaning of his own true will, to pronounce his own word.
Please continue, neoliberal, with your thoughts. I think it's a good conversation.
Did nobody be my friend?
Yeah, we said hi, Michaela.
Hello.
Wait, I said I was bringing first.
Yeah, they said hey.
Girl, no, not your low ass mic.
It seems impossible even to begin to discuss its nature as it is in itself. For it is not a thing at all, but only a relation between impressions. We must be content to observe its virtues. First of all, is that already noted, its extent in time. Second is the faculty of selection. It would be as undesirable as it is impossible for the memory to retain all impressions indiscriminately. Such memories are found only in lunatic asylums. The memory, whatever it may be, depends on cerebral metabolism, and it thrives on a proper harmony of exercise, repose, and economy, just as does muscular strength. Memory as such is practically worthless. It is like an abandoned library. Its data must be coordinated by judgment and played upon with skill. It resembles a great organ which requires an organist. By classifying simple impressions, one obtains ideas of a higher order. The repetition of this process gives a structure to the mind which makes it a worthy instrument of thought. And this means enables one to retain and to bring at will from their quiet resting place 1,000-fold the number of facts which would overwhelm the untrained memory. One must model one's mind upon the arrangement of the ends of the nerve fibers and the brain. At will! Here is the great key to proper selection. That one should resolutely remember all facts that may be useful, and as resolutely forget all those impertinent. To the true way of one star in space. For so only can one economize the mnemonic faculty, and this is to say, no man can begin to train his memory duly until he is aware of his true will. There is then, as in all matters pertaining to the intellect, a vicious circle. For one can only become conscious of one's true will by judgment of samadhic intensity upon all facts that is the possible to assimilate. The resolution of the antimony is found ambulando, that is, by the selective training above indicated. A further complication of this whole question appears during the practice of yoga. When the sheaths being successfully stripped from the mind, one begins to remember not only long-forgotten facts, but matters which do not refer to the incarnated ego at all. The memory extends in time to infancy, to one's previous death, and so further to an unlimited series of experiences whose scope depends on the degree of one's progress. But parallel with this intensification of the idea of the ego, its expansion through the eons, there arises in consequence of the weakening of the ahamkara, the ego-making faculty, a tendency to remember things which have happened not to oneself, but to other people or beings. Herein is one of the most irritating obstacles in the path of the wise, for the normal development of the memory in time leads to a better understanding of the true will of the individual, as he then conceives of himself, so that he perceives an universe teleologically more rational as he progresses. To be compelled to assimilate the experiences of supposed alien beings is to become confused. The old hodgepodge of Coronson. Restriction be unto him in the name of Babylon. Gapes once more for the adept. who possibly supposed himself already in a sense a freeman of the city of the pyramids. But it is just this experience, in default of any other, which eventually insists on his undertaking to cross the abyss. For the alternative to sheer insanity is seen to be the discovery of a general formula, comprehensive of universal experience without reference to the ego, real or supposed, in any sense. This paradox, like all others, should be a lesson of supreme value. This, that every difficulty is for our advantage, that every question is posed only in order to lead us to an answer involving a triumph infinitely more glorious than we could otherwise have conceived. And meditation upon this whole matter may not unlikely bring us to this further vision of wonder, that the nature of things themselves is in reality but a function of memory.
Economy, what's good for corporations may not necessarily be good for the average American, right? A lot of people don't even invest in the stock market. So, when we see those arenas doing well, it trickle down. And I think that's part of the problem. To me, there's like two different economies. There's lower and middle America, and then there's upper income America and the 1% and the 1% of the 1%. They're going to do well regardless. Doesn't matter who's in office, right? Doesn't matter, what the tax policy is, their tax shelters, their people that they can employ, they can, set up another, it's fairly easy for the 1% of the 1% to mitigate tax. So I'm never really concerned about them. And I think too much of the focus is actually on that tier of Americans who, when their wealth increases, as we've seen, because the overall economy has been good, they're not trickling down. They're just
But none of this shakes or even threatens the philosophy of Thelema. On the contrary, it may be called the rock of its foundation. The issue of all is evident that all conceptions are necessarily unique because there can never be two identical points of view. And this corresponds with facts, points of view close kin, and thus there may be a superficial general agreement, as there is which is found in.
It's so covered. Like, you could wear that to get coffee, maybe.
What the fuck? Hold on. Let me go and look at, because now I don't even know what I sent you.
You're not wearing a polka dot top either.
I just told you, bro.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I searched for meaning, and it certainly provides answers.
I'm sorry, you started what? You started what?
He searches for meaning.
Meaning and what?
Would you like to name one or two of those meanings?
So these universals, right? You ask the question, what is the meaning? The meaning to what? And how does this universal answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a dentist. I don't want to seem like I'm pulling teeth, and if I am, I'll just go back on mute. You see, me, I always try to bring everything back to how does the answer to this question, how does we just, what we talked about, improve your life today? That's the purpose that I'm all about, is how can I help and how can people help me improve our lives today? But if that's too difficult a topic for you, it's not a problem.
So Alvin, it's real simple, right? You use this universals to find meaning. And the meaning to what? And what's the answer?
The bigger thing here is, I would say there's practical meaning or practical advantage in that it answers fundamental questions to philosophy such as change and flux. And throughout the past thousands of years, there's been some serious issues with us asking the questions. How does something go from A to B, for example? And so Aristotelian, realism, or Platonic, or even Hermetic realism does answer a lot of these questions. So maybe not on a practical sense, day to day, like it improves my, jogging or whatever in that kind of sense, but certainly in a more scholarly day-to-day setting, it certainly improves my life.
Well, do you jog?
I do exercise, yeah.
You jog?
I do lifting, yeah.
Well, do you jog?
Do you or do you not jog? I asked that.
Do you jog?
Okay, so you don't do jogging, even though you brought up jogging. Thank you.
So, in this exercise, Alvin,
it seems impossible even to begin to discuss its nature as it is in itself. For it is not a thing at all, but only a relation between impressions. We must be content to observe its virtues. First of all, is that already noted, its extent in time. Second is the faculty of selection. It would be as undesirable as it is impossible for the memory to retain all impressions indiscriminately. Such memories are found only in lunatic asylums. The memory, whatever it may be, depends on cerebral metabolism, and it thrives on the proper harmony of exercise, repose, and economy, just as does muscular strength. Memory as such is practically worthless. It is like an abandoned library. Its data must be coordinated by judgment and played upon with skill. It resembles a great organ which requires an organist. By classifying simple impressions, one obtains ideas of a higher order. The repetition of this process gives a structure to the mind which makes it a worthy instrument of thought. And this means enables one to retain and to bring its will from their quiet resting place 1,000-fold the number of facts, which would overwhelm the untrained memory. One must model one's mind on the arrangement of the ends of the nerve fibers and the brain. It will!
I'm lying?
No, I just think you misunderstood.
Well, tell you what, let's try it one last time. How is all this information about Socrates and universalism, how has it improved your life today? Give one example.
I told you already, it has improved my life in that I can answer questions in philosophy. Again, this may not be important to you because you don't like philosophy, whatever.
How is
that's
that?
fine. That's
No. And now, no, I got it. Hold on. I got it. Just let me rephrase it, and I'm going to go on mute for a gazillion years. This has improved your life because now you are better at answering philosophical questions than you were before. I get it.
Good, perfect, finally.
I'm unsure how that improves quality of life.
It improves the quality of his life.
It will make you less embarrassed when engaged in philosophical discourse in front of others.
Yeah, you could just avoid those assholes too.
Oh, here is the great key to proper selection. That one should resolutely remember all facts that may be useful, and as resolutely forget all those impertinent. To the true way of one star in space. Impertinent. To the true way of one star in space. For so only can mnemonic faculty. And this is to say, no man can begin to train his memory duly until he is aware of his true will. There is then, as in all matters pertaining to the intellect, a vicious circle. For one can only become conscious of one's true will by judgment of samadhic intensity upon all facts that is the possible to assimilate. The resolution of the antimony is found ambulando, that is, by the selective training above indicated. A further complication of this whole question appears during the practice of yoga. When the sheaths being successfully stripped from the mind, one begins to remember not only long forgotten facts, but matters which do not refer to the incarnated ego at all. The memory extends in time to infancy, to one's previous death, and so further to an unlimited series of experiences whose scope depends on the degree of one's progress. But parallel with this intensification of the idea of the ego, its expansion through the eons, there arises in consequence of the weakening of the ahankara, the ego-making faculty, a tendency to remember things which have happened not to oneself, but to other people or beings. Herein is one of the most irritating obstacles in the path of the wise. For the
Why should I wear clothes? On its question.
Exactly.
I came in at the right time.
Took a bite of the apple. What do you want me to tell you?
Where's Matt when I need him? All right.
I'm blaming the man.
Well, I came in at the right time, so I like to join this conversation about.
What are you blaming the men for exactly?
Honestly, it's not their fault.
Of course.
What?
It's their fault.
Well, how is it our fault? It obviously has nothing to do with us. Y'all are the ones that, like, overthinking what each other are wearing.
No.
If it was about the men, Bliss would be like.
The development of the memory in time leads to a better understanding of the true will of the individual, as he then conceives of himself, so that he perceives a universe teleologically more rational as he progresses. To be compelled to assimilate the experiences of supposed alien beings, become confused. The old hodgepodge of Quran song. Restriction be unto him in the name of Babylon. Oh, hey, Isa Kant. Hi, Isa. Welcome to my room. ¿Qué pasa, chica? Feliz Navidad y feliz Año Nuevo. View hermosa, señorita. Bailando.
Edmund, somebody sent me an article saying that you were disqualified from the candidacy because you committed fraud in signatures.
No.
Your story.
No, there's no fraud. First of all, I turned in over 1,600 signatures. Then the Illinois State Board of Elections said I only had 100 signatures. Then they said I had 300 signatures. They conducted no administrative trial, deprived me of due process, didn't allow any evidence, didn't allow any testimony, didn't allow any subpoena, didn't allow any exhibits, nothing. Shut it all down, refused to communicate with me, and kicked me off the ballot and called me a fraud. It's political. And losers on this app who want to libel and slander me are just upset that I have recorded them for years being fools.
That says that Illinois.com.
Yeah, and I'm sent. I know.
Let me just read you the paragraph. Are Peoria will not have a primary challenge as Republican John Kitover was removed from the ballot. Kitover was found to have only 266 valid signatures. It was alleged that the candidate committed widespread fraud, and the board even voted to forward the petitions to the Attorney General and State's Attorney.
Yeah, I've read that. And I'm sending them a cease and desist to remove that because that's libel and slander. That is passing judgment on me before it ever even gets to a trial. What kind of bullshit is that?
Then you should take charge of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sending them a cease and desist letter and I'm posting it publicly. That's all I can do.
Because that's also harming your name.
Absolutely.
Regardless of whether you run or not.
Absolutely. That's libel, slander, defamation. I committed no fraud. I turned in a very do you know how much time I spent putting together 1,600 pages of signatures? 1,600! It took, I filmed the whole thing. So for them to say it's fraud, that I committed fraud is outrageous. It's slanderous. It's libel. It's defamation of character. And I am fighting back. And there's a news article coming out against the attorney who challenged me on behalf of Darren LaHood. And
so based on what did they say that?
You'd have to do an actual thorough audit of all the petitions, but the fact that they're even claiming that there's 300 bona fide signatures of registered constituents in the district, and they provided no audit of Darren LaHood or Paul Nolly, but only my petitions, goes to show you the system's rigged. I filed challenges against both the incumbent and the Democrat candidate. They didn't audit them and issue any kind of count for them. It's double standard hypocrisy. And I've exposed it and I've recorded it. And we have done an insider examination in the same way that James O'Keefe from O'Keefe Media has done it. I recorded the courtroom trials. They're nothing but summary statements. That's it. It's not a trial. We recorded the whole thing. We exposed the Illinois State Board of Election. We've also exposed the Chicago Board of Election. It's all on my YouTube. It's all on the internet. You don't look at it because it's too much stuff. Yeah, I do spread it. You're live on it right now. We're talking about it right now.
Good. So spread it. Send the link. Put the link in the chat.
I don't need to put the link in the chat. You are in the.
I want to watch it.
Well,
you record it.
Yeah, well, all you need to do is go to John Kitover on Google. That's how the internet works. You find all my stuff, and then you go, "Oh my God, that's my voice."
Too much stuff. I would have to go through all of it.
Well, I don't really care what you have to do. I don't work for you. I didn't come into your room and say, "Hey, put a link in the chat." That's not how this works.
Yeah, but I want to know the truth.
I want to know the truth. The truth is the proof in the pudding. And the truth is John Kitover did not commit any fraud, and these are slander, libel, defamation.
I believe you.
And they are risking. I will be filing complaints with the Illinois Board of Elections and the State Bar Association against these libelous, slanderous attorneys who are trying to make their careers off of my name. Off of my fucking name. That's what these attorneys always do. They sue me and use me as the example of their case law. That's just what they do. I've experienced this before. Believe me, I got so many attorneys. I have so many attorneys that try to live inside my ass, and all they do is eat my turds. That's what these attorneys do. They're the Feliz Año Nuevo! Feliz Año Nuevo!
John, I need to know what happened with the signatures fraud, the alleged signatures fraud.
I'd like to say
Feliz Año Nuevo!
I have worked in many political campaigns as a signature collector. I have collected signatures for many political campaigns. And let me tell you what, challenging signatures when they are turned in, it's almost like if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't get challenged, then you essentially completely wasted your time. At the very least, when you turn signatures in, at the very least, you should expect that somebody should challenge them and have them investigated for potential fraud. It is a very standard and normal thing to do. And that is from your friend, the trash bag.
Hey, Zach, where's that book that I can buy from you that you wrote? It looks pretty interesting.
Thank you. Amazing.
Gapes once more for the adept, who possibly supposed himself already in a sense a freeman of the city of the pyramids. But it is just this experience in default of any other which eventually insists on his undertaking to cross the abyss, where the alternative to sheer insanity is seen to be the discovery of a general formula, comprehensive of universal experience without reference to the ego, real or supposed, in any sense. This paradox, like all others, should be a lesson of supreme value. This, that every difficulty is for our advantage, that every question is posed only in order to lead us to an answer involving a triumph infinitely more glorious than we could otherwise have conceived. And meditation upon this whole matter may not unlikely bring us to this further vision of wonder. The nature of things themselves is in reality but a function of memory.
Texting and driving.
Probably not.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Whoever is watching these
point of order, moderators, point of order, point of order, moderators. Welcome back to Pepe versus You. That's the name of this house, with point is the PTR. So we're going to do the point show, and we're going to find out why you hate me so much because I'm a supermodel, and I got to get to the studio to do my New Year's Eve broadcast with my best, anyways, Issa, you are one loudmouth bitch. This is your roast party. Welcome. And Jay Bresca, we have all...
My roast party?
Yeah, go spend the time...
I put the link in the chat. I
don't think I've ever had... Well, I've had a couple of roast parties.
All I'm trying to say is Jay Bresca is a wapdago, guinea goonie, and fuck that lying piece of shit. The FBI didn't show up at his fucking house 2 weeks ago, and then he shows up on the app 2 weeks later and says, oh, by the way, FBI showed up at my house and said, hey, John Kitover committed campaign finance fraud because you were the top donor and you gave him $400. Motherfucker didn't give me $400. He gave me $250. Fucking liar. Oh my God, the guy's nothing but a fucking shit-stirring, pot-stirring, fucking flip-flopping liar who used my good name and put that shit in the title. Fuck that guinea wop, dingle motherfucking lying piece of shit, rapist, criminal, federally prosecuted, and a pretendian. Fucking pretendian. That's it. Good one. Pretendian. Fuck you, Jay Bresca. Even though you did give me $250. Fuck you.
Every time I hear point, I always think that it is John Kitover.
Yeah, same here. And you know what's crazy is that point is always accepted in the black rooms when it's actually just like a white gay guy putting on the black, voice.
So funny. Yeah. Anyway, I put the link in the chat.
In the chat, yeah. I just opened it up. I'll give it a buy, Zach. I'll be turning your poetry songs into AI songs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. They already are real songs. Turn AI songs too.
It seems impossible even to begin to discuss its nature.
Okay, so I was doing a meditation. Many people don't want to stick around for this part of my show, but I do read books.
Because Gary don't like when I take to the last minute. They trying to walk into the shop and get my hair done. So
at the end of the day, Oasis told me to pick a date, and so I'm just gonna wait till next weekend to get my hair.
The China Burma India Theater. He was marching over the Himalayas, connecting Burma to China for supplies. He's part of Stilwell's army.
Did he take any horses back?
He did. He played polo.
Wow, that's cool.
He played polo before I was.
Oh my God!
ChatGPT historian, you can hear him, clicking on the keyboards, looking up the facts before he speaks.
Oh, I can't get any audio in this one for some reason.
Dark skin, she do hair?
yeah, no.
I know two Khadija.
I think it's Khadijah Murphy. I know it's Khadijah Murphy.
Yeah, I had a friend growing up. He was like managing some guy's store, and the guy at the store was like a local guy, and for whatever reason, he had a horse. He had a horse, and he tended to it. But this kid would like take it around town to like.
I think if you want to. I mean, we're already here. We might as well.
Might as well spill it, girl. It was so bad, guys. You can't even fucking imagine that. You can't even.
Get ready to imagine.
I had an Airbnb, okay? Mm-hmm. And because I was in Florida at this time for 14 days. I ended up overstaying. So I had an Airbnb. And Michael wants to meet me. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm here if you want to come. He comes.
Do not come.
It's not about how old they are, but they are from 1984. And all of his shoes were in such bad shape, they were flaking all over my apartment.
Oh, no, they were old.
Gross. Flaking everywhere.
Allow her to finish, please.
I didn't interrupt her. She stopped speaking now.
Sir.
That girl spent the weekend at my house after
she stopped speaking now.
the big event downtown Chicago.
We're
She
not
gave me
gonna be able to bring
COVID.
you up after a while.
She nearly killed me.
I mean, come on, bro. Like, this is
I think she virally shut on me.
from time to time, but this is a little bit too much.
The woman
like,
that was
seriously.
Yeah.
It's just not funny.
Wait, who was that?
Pearl.
Yeah. I keep saying Dr. DLC. I know that's not right, but I like saying Dr. DLC.
It's okay.
It was not worth it. I'm not going to say I regret it, but I would just not repeat that experience again. Hell no.
It is embarrassing. I see why.
No, it was glorious sex. I'm just saying all the added drama. She missed her flight. I think I had to buy her a flight. I had to get her an Uber. It was like she got me good for all kinds of extra add-ons and all kinds of stress and anxiety. Fucking just wandering around the neighborhood stoned, disappeared for hours. I mean, like other things where it was like, you know, it's nice controlling a situation.
But in the end,
I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, well, that one. See, the thing is, you could be a free Palestine schmuck, but if you're basically American, we can work with you. If you speak American English and you know, put America first, basically. I mean, or you can put somebody to an America first, you know, position.
Economists who
We can work with anybody that speaks English. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so I'm reaching you're trying to like pretend like this doesn't have any importance on what I'm talking about.
There's a definition in the chat.
Yeah.
1 second, man. Nate.
It is. It is.
You're sort of distributing your intelligence to people that have lower intelligence
Mm-hmm.
and communication. You know.
Yeah.
So when you speak, you're actually sharing pieces of your brain to other people, and it's like, should you actually be doing that? Should you actually be spreading that information? You know, like that sort of, you know, brain pattern onto those imprints onto other people. You know.
Yeah, I think that's what Tikkun Olam is essentially a global vibration of peace and intelligence and wisdom. It's got to be.
Right, but why would you want to make other morons smarter? Because it's really just like giving the monkey.
You create like, yeah, exactly.
It's like giving the monkey a machine gun.
No. You forget that when, well, let me quote it for you.
You create the Somali, you create Somalis who defraud the government.
Yeah, you created Somalis. You created the Somalis. That's actually very relevant. He's finding a quote, but today I taught an immigrant child how to drive.
You're giving a tool. You're giving a weapon of tools, man.
And it was astounding. It was really scary how bad this kid was with the English. And he was one of the better ones. Like, he's a high school student. He's like pretty good with English. And by the way, he wasn't a retard with the driving. Like, he did pretty good with the driving. But it just made me think about like how many other foreigners are out there with essentially zero English. And they're on the road. I mean, I read that 7% of Portland, Maine is full of Somalians. So that means nearly 1 out of 10. I don't know what it's like in Chicago, as you would call it. But I'm sure the population is different because the population is higher. But 1 out of 10 people in Portland, Maine are Somalian, and they're basically all crashing their cars. Right. As we speak, they just all crashed. All of them just crashed in the time that it took me to say this sentence.
Zach, imagine like you're living at one of those houses, like in an intersection or something. You're like praying to God, please help me from these Somalians.
Every morning you wake up. Dear God, please let nobody smash into my house again today. Please. Thank you for protecting me yesterday. Please continue. There is actually a coffee shop on a corner like that. And I can think of it because it's been smashed into like 3 different times. And it keeps changing hands. And then it gets smashed into again by a car because it's like right in the worst place on a corner. And it keeps getting smashed.
Yeah, it's like with these the dinglings, from India. Ding 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 ding. It's they're getting these truck driving CDL licenses.
Oh yeah, every truck driver these days is a ding-a-ling.
And they have like a SBA loan specifically for the dinglings. Like, specifically, if you're like a minority, you can open up your own gas station. And these loans are just for the dinglings. You can look into it.
Oh, I know all about it because I've been applying for federal grants for the past 6 years, and a good portion of them are only open to blacks.
Well, you should use your Jewish connections, man.
I know. Well, I don't.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's in a different book here. So Zach and I are doing the book club. Don't forget, what time, Zach? Tell everybody.
Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
EST.
And we're going to do John's Dream Book Club.
AKA, we read to each other for 5 to 10 minutes and we don't do conversation.
What are the books? Books that you choosing?
You pick it, whatever you want.
Right. The way that John said it is that in a normal book club, everybody reads the same book, and they don't even do any reading. They just pretend to read a book, and then they talk about the book. And he said it would be cool to have a book club where we actually read books, and everybody, you can just read whatever you want. I mean, try to make it smart, but we're going to read a... It's going to be a time, and I decided to schedule it because it will be more helpful for me to have one time throughout the week where it's actually time for me to sit at a table and read aloud.
You know, I think I have the same sort of experience that John has when he reads books. It's very meditative, peaceful. I don't know. It's an incredible feeling, especially when you're reading it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
When you read in that British voice, it almost sounds like Alan Watts, but it's like a very. I like that voice. I like that British guy, Edmund Dakin. You know, there's John Kitover, but then there's Edmund Dakin, and I actually like them both separately.
Like with John, like how does he reads in a way that's very hypnotic. You know, have you noticed that? Very hypnotic.
Well, yeah, but Edmund is better than John. John is a little goofy. When Edmund reads, it's really like the wisdom is being transcended.
I'm looking for this one quote about herd consciousness. I can't find it though. Meaning that if you can raise the total sum of the herd consciousness just even by a little, it'll improve the situation overall. Meaning that all tides raise all ships. Keegan, welcome to the room. This is Pepe versus you.
Do you know about the 100 monkey theory?
Yeah.
Do you know about that, Zen?
Is it where like there's bananas?
Yeah, it's involving bananas. It's with the bananas.
Well, there is this Zen story that says the monkeys.
Is that where that's like 13% of bananas are taken by 50% of monkeys?
Ooga booga.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's that one.
Sure, ACTs.
So there's this Zen.
You can just call me City. It's a lot more fun than Zen.
There's this Zen story where the monkeys are upset, and so they demand the monkey keeper give them 3 bananas in the morning and 2 in the evening instead of 2 in the morning and 3 in the evening. And so the point is like everything is for a day. So if you're upset that you got 3, then you got 2 or 2 or the 3, it's like you're still getting 5 a day. It doesn't matter. Meaning that, are you a screeching monkey?
In itself.
That's my one.
For it is not a thing at all, but only a relation between impressions. We must be content to observe its virtues.
Like
first of all,
like an extra, additional bonus. The bonus last year was the same bonus this year. But that's how they built their company. By being stingy. So what can you do?
Well, Keegan's got cars to fix. My friend's got grants to get granted. And Zen here, the paper pusher's got YouTube rooms to record. I mean, it is an abundant and beautiful year full of abundance. Ribono Shel Olam.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Did you know that I have like multiple burner accounts, like maybe 6 or 7, and 7 now, and they're all running on a virtual phone network on my computer, and they're all anonymous. So I can go into whatever room I want to and start streaming and broadcasting that sort of information. It's pretty powerful stuff.
So John has you're the new John.
No, I don't comment. That's what John does. He does a little bit of commentating. He adds a little bit more
is
spice.
that already noted?
But
its extent is
that's been a lot of fun. He really wants to know who the anonymous person is. I'm telling you, at the very bottom, and that's hilarious. He likes to rage out a lot.
That's amazing. That's very important work.
Yeah, I also overheard your rage out too. Like that was an interesting thing as well. Like
which one?
Like bomb the Palestinian kids, bomb the Palestinian kids, shoot them in the head, blow them up.
Yeah, that was good. You like that one?
Okay, YouTube mods. YouTube mods, you gotta know this is all just comedy here. This is satire, FYI. We are 22 hours into live streaming this. I hope that doesn't kill the live stream. Please, even though it's comedy, we cannot say such terrible things on YouTube live stream, and it's all for comedy here because what do we call the show? It's called The Aristocrats. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Aristocrats. Zach just got finished chopping up his little, this and that, and Zen over there. He just recently put somebody in a... Anyways, Keegan, welcome to the show. Keegan, is there anything you want to say to Brad now that we have him on the line? Brad's in another room listening in. Anything you want to say to Brad, Keegan? The Viking is here. Mr. Viking, would you like to say anything to Brad? I mean, to Keegan here. No, you're good just sitting there in the audience? I'm just kidding. He's not actually here. Anyways, Keegan, anything you want to say, my friend Zen? Because, I try to keep my mind focused. Time is of the essence. Anything else of high value before I continue you down this journey of Clown House and books? Because the book club isn't Thursdays at 10. For me, the book club is now. Hello?
Yeah, I do have something to say. I just posted a link in the chat. It's the YouTube, the Brad versus Diogenes show. That was a pretty good one.
That'll be fun.
Somebody gonna pull in that bitch that know you. Like, I get what you saying, dude. But me personally, if I'm a husband,
motherfucker know you though.
If I want a husband, I wish I wasn't on, folks, because I'll fuck the gas stations up. Oh man, she would be the real clientele.
I pull right up, sell a 3.5, motherfucker see me sell a 3.5. They won't want to.
Jesus Christ, you would pull a real clientele out of the gas station. On my
man, Jane walking that bitch with some big ass Balenciagas on.
You go sit at 4 gas.
Oh my God.
Piece throughout the day game. By the end of this year, line gonna be busted.
I think I'm gonna put CG in my name, man.
Okay, I just posted that.
You finna put what in your name, bro?
CG in my name, folks.
You finna put that 375 dust down baby low chocolate gang in this motherfucking name. They gonna come kill you. I like you.
Hey, look at the fake food shiesty page. Instantly get on your ass.
You got more than me.
You talking about good? No, you not good.
You know, food shiesty got more choppers than me, though, dude.
No, I ain't gonna lie. They just bought a gun store. Ain't nobody got more.
Deuce, hey, Deuce, don't play with me, Deuce.
The interdiction for all of those boats, I will let that stuff to the Coast Guard. That's what they do. Like, we had a system in place to interdict drug boats and worked just fine. We didn't need to tuck it out the window.
Here's the ChatGPT historian, Marshall Rankin.
Isn't he the most pathetic, like limp noodle, fucking fully Adderall out? He's the pasta ball.
No, I just heard that
It's always amazing meeting people from the internet, and then they're always like,
someone else.
Anyways.
Correct. No.
And like now you're in separate rooms because like nobody wants to go to jail. But
yeah. It's a weird relationship with Ray. I've never had a sister, so I don't understand how.
It's been really fun.
Well, she's got a twin.
she's a twin. She's had the full stint of sister.
Yeah.
You know that cartoon, Rick and Morty?
An identical twin that isn't identical.
I know, and
See,
the
everything-
passive aggressive shit really gets to me. It does. I'm just not used to it. Men are not like that. Like my brothers were never like.
So everything is an audio experiment on this app, broken up into however long you want to participate in the experiment.
what I was saying, like you're like the maestro of an orchestra of different human voices. You know, you can change the dynamics. It's pretty great.
There was a couple gems in there where he was like, "You about to get a clientele at the gas station," and then he said, "I'm about to put CG in my name." It's just like an incantation of like a foreign land where you like walk in a room and there's like one guy's like, "You get it from the gas station," and the other person is like, "I'm putting CG in my name." It's like it means something to them.
It's like a real.
You don't really know
It's like
what
a
they're
real time
saying.
construct. It's a real time 3D construct of like a glorious ghetto facade while people are moving about the world on their cell phones. It is like a human 3D mass construct where everybody's beaming into like the center sphere of their consciousness, and it creates this 3-dimensional audio reality. It's really interesting. Let's go back to that room. It's called Secret Animosity. Hello?
Let's do it.
And she not white, if I'm not mistaken.
Talking about JB?
Yes, Jules, girl. Stop yelling at me, bitch.
I said 2 names, right?
See, this has to be a show,
Damn.
doesn't it?
Fucking yelling at me.
2 names. You're done.
This is an America that I don't want to live in. Is that wrong? It's not mean. It's just
Kevin, my OG stopped doing shit when I was 16, 17, and I was too grown. What are you talking about? Nigga, that's you grown. You gave you the game. Nigga, you 16. Even before then,
hey, Kevin, the worst shit is when you go forget everything when you turn 17, 18.
This is what I'm saying. Look, I get what Tony trying to say.
That's some bullshit. I get what you said.
When he was when she started doing all that shit, Bill, nigga, I guarantee you, he was already in the mix with everybody that's doing everything. Listen, gang.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This shit brick by brick, nigga. This shit came from nothing, nigga. What are you talking about? Nigga, you was already in the mix with everybody.
You umbrellas and those corporations are moving in a direction of non-human labor.
Well, can I say this? I would submit this to you, that the boogeyman you're talking about are corporations, but corporations.
Okay. We're going to continue reading little essays towards truth as we approach the new year. We are onto the chapter of sorrow. The aspiration to become a master is rooted in the trance of sorrow. This trance is not simple and definite. Indeed, it commonly begins in a limited selfish form. The imagination cannot pierce beyond terrestrial conditions, or the sense of self-grasp more than the natural consciousness. One thinks at first no more than this: there is nothing possible that is good enough for me. Only as one grows by initiation does one approach the asymptote, sabe pidukkam, of the Buddha, when the relations of subject and object, both expanded to infinity, seem to be no less in the bosom of the great curse than were their first avatars, the petty ego, and the perceptible universe. So also for the transcending of this trance of sorrow. At first the victory often comes by trick of mind, extending subject or object, as the case may be, by an effort to escape reality. One seems for a moment to have defeated the equation, everything is sorrow, but the clouds regather as the mind recovers its equilibrium. Thus one invents some heaven, defining it arbitrarily as free from sorrow, only to find on exact examination that its conditions are the same as those of earth. Nor is there any rational issue from this hell of thought. The transcending of the trance of sorrow is to be made by means of such other trances as the higher beatific vision, the trance of wonder, and others, even the trance called the universal joke, though this last is thereunto strangely akin. There is this further consideration, that every subject of contemplation asks only that the mind should become fixed upon it, in a degree far inferior to that of true concentration, such as secures samadhi to become evidently an illusion. So much for a brief summary of the technical aspects of this matter. But all this is remote indeed from the simplicity of the affirmation of the Book of the Law. Remember, all ye, that existence is pure joy. All the sorrows are as shadows. They pass and are done, but there is that which remains. Upon what can depend this perception, which claims to sweep away with the fire of scorn the formidable batteries of all serious philosophical thought? The solution must lie in the metaphysics of Thelema itself. And here we come upon what is apparently a paradox of the most disconcerting order. For the Book of the Law, anticipating the most subtle of recent mathematical conceptions, that of the greatest genius of this generation, makes the unit of existence consist in an event, an act of marriage between knew it and had it. That is, the fulfillment of a certain point of view, and is not the procession of events the very conditions of sorrow as opposed to the perfection of pure existence. That is the old philosophy. A tangle of false words we see more clearly thus. Each event is an act of love, and so generates joy. All existence is composed solely of such events. But how comes it then that there should be even an illusion of sorrow? Simply enough, by taking a partial and imperfect vision. An example, in the human body, each cell is perfect, and the man is in good health. But should we choose to regard almost any portion of the machine which sustains him, there will appear various decompositions and the like, which might well be taken to imply the most tragic events. This would inevitably be the case had we never at any time seen the man as a whole, and understood the necessity of the diverse processes of nature which combine to make life. Addendum. Furthermore, to the normal dualistic consciousness, it is precisely the shadows which pass and are done, which constitute perceptibility. What man sees is in fact just that which obstructs the rays of light. This is the justification for the Buddha saying, everything is sorrow. In that word, everything, he is most careful to include specifically all those things which men count joyous. And this is not really a paradox, for to him all reactions which produce consciousness are ultimately sorrowful. as being disturbances of the perfection of peace, or if you prefer it, as obstructions to the free flow of energy. Joy and sorrow, thus to him relative terms, subdivisions of one great sorrow, which is manifestation. We need not trouble to contest this view. Indeed, the shadows of which our book speaks are those interferences with light caused by the partiality of our apprehensions. The whole is infinite perfection, so is each unit thereof. To transcend the trance of sorrow, it is thus sufficient to cancel the subject of the contemplation by marrying it to its equal and opposite in imagination. We may also pursue the analytical method and resolve the complex which appears sorrow into its atoms. Each event of it is a sublime and joyous act of love. Or the synthetical method, proceeding from the part to the whole with a similar result. And any one of the movements of the mind is with assiduity and enthusiasm capable of transforming the trance of sorrow itself into the cognate trance attributed to understanding, the trance of wonder.
Oh, this is it. I think it's
did was I had made sure I got all my kids, and then she booked one of them big ass rooms at the brand new hotel, where he pulled out shit, and
Bro, I honestly have like a wingspan a couple inches more than their height. They can do like weird things with their elbows behind their.
definitely.
To the expectations that people have, especially when we're talking about sort of entry level jobs, right? If we're talking about like what are the minimum skills that are needed for entry level jobs, AI might have a role.
I said a female. A female.
What is it, a sister-in-law?
Oh my God, Jeff, what are you psychic?
I mean, just how many options are there?
Well, there's a bunch. There's 27 of us. That's weird.
Yeah, sister-in-law is a neat.
Okay. We're going to continue reading Little Essays Towards Truth. As we approach the new year, we are on to the chapter of sorrow. aspiration to become a master is rooted in the trance of sorrow. This trance is not simple and definite. Indeed, it commonly begins in a limited selfish form. The imagination cannot pierce beyond terrestrial conditions, or the sense of self-grasp more than the natural consciousness. One thinks at first no more than this: there is nothing possible that is good enough for me. Only as one grows by initiation does one approach the asymptote, sabe pitukum, of the Buddha, when the relations of subject and object, both expanded to infinity, seem to be no less in the bosom of the great curse than were the first avatars, the petty ego, and the perceptible universe. So also for the transcending of this trance of sorrow. At first the victory often comes by trick of mind, extending subject or object, as the case may be, by an effort to escape reality. One seems for a moment to have defeated the equation, everything is sorrow, but the clouds regather as the mind recovers its equilibrium. Thus one invents some heaven, defining it arbitrarily as free from sorrow, only to find on exact examination that its conditions are the same as those of earth. Nor is there any rational issue from this hell of thought. The transcending of the trance of sorrow is to be made by means of such other trances as the higher beatific vision, the trance of wonder, and others, even the trance called the universal joke, though this last is thereunto strangely akin. There is this further consideration, that every subject of contemplation asks only that the mind should become fixable, in a degree far inferior to that of true concentration, such as secures samadhi.
Okay, Dr. Sex Dante, yeah, that's one aspect of it.
I mean, I think you and his. Okay, this is the world famous Drazi kebab here in Jefferson Park, Chicago. This is lentil soup. These are little croutons with some lemon. This is the Arabic shawarma with French fries and a little bit vegetable salads, types of onions. But this is the chicken shawarma Drazi kebab, complete with white sauce, spicy red, coleslaw, and an extra white sauce. This is the world famous Drazi kebab. Okay, this is the world famous drop.
In 1945, if you suck a dick, you get lobotomized.
Yea, verily, and amen. It takes his tireless and its joys without bounds for the whole universe and all that in it is. What is it but the infinite playground of the crown, and conquering child of the insatiable, the innocent, the ever-rejoicing air of space and eternity, whose name is man? To become evidently an illusion, ill of Chaya. Nothing but the realization, born sooner or later, of agonizing experience, that its whole relation to Ruach and Nefesh with matter, i.e. with the universe, is and must be only painful. Senselessness of the whole procedure sickens it. It begins to seek for some menstruum in which the universe may become intelligible, useful, and enjoyable. Kabbalistic language, it aspires to neshama. This is what we mean in saying that the trance of sorrow is the motive of the great work. So much for a brief summary of the technical aspects of this matter. Enter into the but all this is remote indeed. Invented to explain in a parable how it is that the universe is so unfortunately constituted. We are concerned only with the observed facts. All these mental and moral faculties of the Ruach, where not purely spiritual like the supernal triad, or still as it were in the air, to be used, they need a basis through which to receive impressions, much as a machine requires fuel and fodder before it can manufacture the article which it is designed to produce. Number 5, Nefesh. This is usually from the simplicity of the affirmation of the Book of the Law. Remember, O ye, that existence is pure joy.
She-Wolf, don't worry, She-Wolf.
All the sorrows are as shadows. They pass and are done, but there is that which remains. Upon what can depend this perception, which claims to sweep away with the fire of scorn the formidable batteries of all serious philosophical thought? The solution must lie in the metaphysics of Thelema itself. And here you met my girlfriend. Didn't know that I was searching, but now that I found you, I know that it's worth it. I think it's working. Oh, Virgo when he's twerking. Didn't know that I had found you, but now that I know that it's worth it.
Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Bill. Don't take
Come
your
upon
guns.
what is evidently a paradox of the most disconcerting order. With the Book of the Law, anticipating the most subtle of recent mathematical conceptions, that of the greatest genius of this generation makes the unit of existence consist in an act of marriage between knew it and had it. That is, the fulfillment of a certain point of view, and is not the procession of events, the very conditions of sorrow, as opposed to the perfection of pure existence. That is the old philosophy. A tangle of false words we see more clearly thus. Each event is an act of love, and so generates joy. All existence is composed solely of such events. But how comes it then that there should be even an illusion of sorrow? Simply enough, by taking a partial and imperfect vision, an example in the human body, each cell is perfect, and the man is in good health. But should we choose to regard almost any portion of the machine which sustains him There will appear various decompositions and the like, which might well be taken to imply the most tragic events. This would inevitably be the case had we never at any time seen the man as a whole and understood the necessity of the diverse processes of nature which combine to make life. Addendum. Furthermore, to the normal dualistic consciousness, it is precisely the shadows which pass and are done, which constitute perceptibility. What man sees is in fact just that which obstructs the rays of light.
Reality is made of probability and possibility, the closest theory that humanity's gone to.
This is the justification for the Buddha saying, everything is sorrow. In that word, everything, he is most careful to include specifically all those things which men count joyous. And this is not really a paradox, for to him all reactions which produce consciousness are ultimate.
Hold on a second there. We'll get to you in just a second. I just want to let Lagan finish. That's literally the answer to the powerful. That's what Elon Musk. All the money, all the markets, that's what it's all orbiting right there. But only if you can process what it's saying. Because most people who look at that website cannot process it without their ego and their identity. It becomes narrative mass, but it's really just physics. I'll explain it like this. You are not a man. You're not just some human being. You are the field behind it, which is let's just say, infinite ocean of quantum possibility, which is reality itself. Because just look at right now. Before I entered this call, there were possibilities without me. There was a timeline without me, without this voice. And now that I've entered this call, this entire timeline is silent now because it's being warped right now in real time by density. And you can see that in real time as well. The people in this call are dense people. They have a lot of followers. They have a voice. People listen. That's a real-time signal density. Now, you scale that up in every single way. To Elon Musk, to Jeff Bezos, to whatever. Those are dense beings. But because their ontological limit is still capped as a man, they cannot see that the issues of humanity are not something that you can fix from the outside. You can't fix ego with more ego. Einstein already said this, but most people don't understand what he's saying. The only thing you can fix humanity with it is not by fixing, but by revealing the very ontological root of it. And most people have never heard that term in their entire life. And the modern world doesn't look at themselves. They don't reflect on their own consciousness and the structure of it. So they miss the entire thing entirely. Because again, consciousness is not contained within your brain. It's contained within the thing behind it. Because again, look at this. The entire world is made of, let's just say, probability fields. If you look at yourself, you're a weighted node within it. You're not separate from the world. But if you look at modern science, it likes to separate the observer from the observed when they're really two things, two reflections of the same existence, effectively. So, I mean, if you start to see that, then you start to look at this world and you start to see.
Point of order, moderator. Moderator, point of order. I don't have all day for this nonsense.
Yeah.
Put me in your queue. Thank you very little.
Well, yeah, if you, again, resonate with what I'm saying, just check out my page, I guess. But it's really all I'm saying.
Thank you. Seems like Troy McLeod Voice would like to say something. So, Troy, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to read a little critical essay on the people of X Spaces and Clown House and other social audio platforms who waste their lives here. It's called Wonder.
Sure. Can you define what little means in this context? Because if little means 35 minutes, the answer will probably be unanimous.
I'm asking for 60 seconds of your precious time.
55 seconds, you're good to go.
Here we go. A little more than kin and less than kind are the trance of sorrow and the vision of the machinery of the universe, this latter being the technical aspect of the apprehension of the law of change, which is also a trance of the same order of that as that of sorrow. Now, one mode of victory over all these is the trance of indifference, in which one stands aloof from the whole matter, but it is only one mode, and in the generally known form, full of falsehood and imperfection. For to stand aloof is to affirm duality, which is itself the root of sorrow. To obtain the highest one must unite oneself with all things, partake of all as a true sacrament, and this motion leads to the trance of wonder. They kicked me. Must have been my accent. Welcome, Rolf. Here's a little
Perfectly sorrowful is being disturbances of the perfection of peace, or if you prefer it, as obstructions to the free flow of energy.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a follow too.
Happy New Year, everybody. I wasn't trying to be offensive. I was trying to read some poetry.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a follow too.
Happy New Year, everybody. I wasn't trying to be offensive. I was trying to read some poetry.
I accidentally may have removed it from speakers. That was a genuine slip of the finger. Feel free to request and we'll bring it back up. What I was trying to say is, well, one of the things we like to pride ourselves on, we step out of an echo chamber. Everybody is allowed a voice. Doesn't matter how big or small your account is. Give these people a follow if you like what they have to say. It expands your horizons, costs absolutely nothing. It really doesn't matter what the ratio of followers to following is. It just matters that you are getting something out of it.
Truth of the human experience, but once again, if I mean not once again because I haven't even explained it, but is there a plan of action to first of all, what is the vision and what is the plan of action? Because I didn't hear anything really concrete, and I'm curious if that exists.
Yeah, because what I'm explaining is extremely difficult to explain digitally over 3 minutes because it's quite literally everything. I mean, I can condense it down to just a simple law, which is there are infinite possibilities until collapsed by density. Meaning density is what you are because you are a weighted node of probability in existence. You're not just a human being that exists because that's still a label of reality. It's not really something I can just simply explain over a little digital call because it's your entire existence, right? But the plan of action would be find someone that is important, someone that is dense, that can take action, can actually see what I'm saying. Because if you actually recognize the vision, or rather what I'm saying, or the physics of what I'm saying, your entire world changes. I hope you guys understand, ontologically, not physically. Because it's like recognizing relativity for the first time, or gravity for the first time. That's where all the big breakthroughs happen. It's exactly what AI is supposed to reflect, because I was saying like this, AI is not supposed to reflect humanity. If you reflect humanity, it's going to remain fractured. It's supposed to reflect a reality. That is a very big difference between what humans see and what is.
Okay. What I'm trying to ask is do you have are you trying to solve a problem? Are you offering a solution to something?
This is a solution to everything, my friend. This is not solving problems. It's revealing the entire problem that is humanity.
Yeah, but I mean, are you trying to start a movement? I mean, I'm just how does it work for the 99%? Because that's, I think, what is the real concern is how do we help humanity get to a better place?
This is what determines whether humanity survives or not. I'll explain it like this. This is the equivalent to gravity. How does recognizing gravity help all of humanity? Except now the gravity is within your own self, effectively.
Yo, John, get Duke John off. This guy's nuts.
Hello? Hello?
Go on, Smiley.
I'm just trying to demonstrate.
John, get Duke John off. This guy's nuts. Hello? Hello? I would say just drop this dude because he's causing a lot of chaos. No, so basically what I'm saying is it sounds like you care about humanity, but it's
Joy and sorrow, thus to him relative terms, subdivisions of one great sorrow. which is manifestation. We need not trouble to contest this view. Indeed, the shadows of which our book speaks are those interferences with light.
Les Levinson, hey, big guy. How you doing, big dog?
The whole is infinite perfection. So is each unit thereof. To transcend the trance of sorrow, it is thus sufficient to cancel the subject of the contemplation by marrying it to its equal and opposite imagination. We may also pursue the analytical method and resolve the complex which appears sorrow into its atoms. Each event of it is a sublime and joyous act of love. Or the synthetical method, proceeding from the part to the whole with a similar result. And any one of the movements of the mind is with assiduity and enthusiasm capable of transforming the trance of sorrow itself into the cognate trance attributed to understanding, the trance of wonder.
Used in a demeaning manner with that, viral turning him into a monkey, and it was removed. And so I think that it's almost like we're all witnessing, benefiting, and shaping some of the narratives that are out there, right? But I think there should have been more outcry at social media, to be perfectly honest, even though I am, using social media a lot myself, including social audio. I've seen this more damaging, and I don't really see a lot of pushback towards this. So I think we can pick and choose what the big bad is, and that's going to look different for each one of us, right? I just don't believe in all the doom and gloom, right?
No, I said algorithms though, reform. I agree with you. I literally listed all of them. I listed algorithms because that's what social media is actually running on, is algorithms.
Reform, you're one of my favorite people to talk about AI with, right? But you don't think it's dumb, what? Scary if the thing can think for itself? And it's at a point where it's starting to lie to us. Like the guy who was working on OpenAI, like, remember he went on a tirade saying, like, he's like, I hopped off the project because I felt like it was getting too smart for its good. They're not listening to me. This is like one of the lead engineers of this project.
Yeah, Anthropic was right on 60 Minutes, talking about how their AI literally tried to try to blackmail its employees. And they were saying, okay, it learned from text within some data, whatever. They were saying, yeah, all of them. And so the interviewer on 60 Minutes said, so do you know how it works? And Anthropic employees said, to be honest with you, no, we don't. We have no idea why that large language model decided to blackmail an employee to preserve itself. We don't know.
How did it blackmail the employee? What did it?
Because the employee was cheating.
Okay, wait.
Hold up.
All right. Well, 1 second. So the employee. Can you find that link, Sean?
Yeah, I'll find it.
Listen to it. All right.
Interview. Yeah, I'm gonna.
All right.
Find
It knew he was cheating. It was gonna call his wife or something.
Right. Yeah, it's on.
Okay, well, can you find the clip? We can listen to it. I'm
Can I say one thing to that?
One second.
Sure.
See, I'm gonna make a random point here that my ninth grade English teacher, Miss Fugele, would be proud of me. With all the advent of technology, we still have people saying, can I, which means you're asking me if you have the ability to, right? So I'm just also being facetious here. So it should be, may I speak, not can I, because you're asking me, do you as a person, Nathaniel, have the ability to respond to this question? So I could be funny and be like, no, some of you actually don't. But can you talk and formulate words and expressions? Yes, you can. But why are you asking me if you have the ability to? So look at all of the advent of technology. I don't even want to look at the comments because, all of the books that we read, all the education we have, but yet a simple form of grammar, because Miss Fuselier used to shame you when you would raise your hand and say, can I go to the bathroom? She would say, I don't know. Is it working today? That was shout out to Miss Fuselier. So, Nathaniel, yes, you may respond to me after I'm done responding to Fly. See, I didn't need ChatGPT for that. Now, did I? To be an asshole? Did I need anything like that? No, I didn't. So ChatGPT, AI is not sentient. It cannot think for itself, right? That much I do know. Now, I am not an AI expert. I'm not even a tech expert, right? I have to ask my kids to help me do all sorts of things. So I forgot the point because I was having so much. But Fly, thank you for that compliment. I think that this is a time for conversation to control things. This is how we get regulation, right? This is how we have the conversations and we can say, you know what, this is, there's too much going on here. This is going to be problematic, right? Corporations are doing bad things. But I think we all have a choice and a voice in that, even in how we utilize these applications, right? So, anywho, I'm gonna hush now because I'm gonna come up with another like auntie example, and I should stop while I'm. Well, thank you, Brandy. I mean, I did say that. I've heard that a lot, so it was well earned, and I have no problem acknowledging such. So there you go.
All right,
Is that a mic drop? Oh my goodness.
May I mention?
Yes, you look at Nathaniel. Look at Nathaniel being an LLM. LL Nathaniel. Yes, you may.
I fully agree with the terror of the AI and learning its own things. But we all know, and there is, if you look on I'm sorry, I'll find an article if you like, but the version of AI that we as consumers have is not the version of AI that the government has or all other governments in the world have. It's way more powerful, and that is why certain engineers have shut down certain things. It was when Google, a couple years ago, if I recall, recently, that they started talking to each other and came up with their own language, and that's legit. So I'm not saying AI is not terrifying. We've all seen Terminator, right? But AI does not have robotics to back it up. If that makes sense to you, then you understand what I'm saying. I agree 100%. Have we seen the video footage that's come out of Ukraine with the robotic drones and robotic things? I agree. But what I'm saying is
your mic has a lot of tremble or something on it, or it's like on the edge of it. I don't know if you know that. Yes.
What?
You think everything's a fucking genocide? Oh my god. You think every fucking thing is a genocide?
I mean, they did war crimes at the very least. They're trying to ethnically. They are trying to do war crimes, right?
Yes, that's not the same fucking thing.
Seize territory illegally.
We got plenty of rooms doing politics.
You tried to say that I was saying something awful.
When you're in here.
We're just fucking. It was like a
sidebar. I got you.
It was a continuation of a different conversation. Sorry.
Okay.
Everything for butter is genocide. What did you think what the United States was like a genocide or?
Sorry? Yes, we've killed the Native Americans. We almost wiped them out.
No, in Iraq. I mean in Iraq.
Oh, in Iraq, we committed a lot of war crimes. I don't know. I mean, we didn't wipe out a population or attempt to my knowledge. We tried to attack, I think that was certain cities are really questionable, right?
One of the
Mosul
Swiss banks,
or whatever, we did some
advice about
shit,
going all in on
haven't we congealed into this?
I don't know. I'm not like a
family
fucking
community,
like.
and I appreciate you so much.
And I'm such a fairy girl too. I love the fairies. So Angel, you were off with the fairies. I was like, yay!
Oh, I love that. I know, me too. Yes. So I'm very grateful for your presence, Lois, and your enduring commitment to being here on the app and being, really a pillar of the community. And I just appreciate you so much. And I too just wish you and everyone, healthy, happy, prosperous 2026, healthy, happy, prosperous, full of magic and miracles and
Time. Second is the faculty of selection. It would be as undesirable as it is impossible for the memory to retain all impressions indiscriminately. Such memories are found only in lunatic asylums. The memory, whatever it may be, depends on cerebral metabolism, and it thrives on the proper harmony of exercise, repose, and economy, just as does muscular strength. Memory as such is practically worthless. It is like an abandoned library. Its data must be coordinated by judgment and played upon with skill. It resembles a great organ which requires an organist. By classifying simple impressions, one obtains ideas of a higher order. The repetition of this process gives a structure to the mind which makes it a worthy instrument of thought. And this means enables one to retain and to bring its will from the quiet resting place 1,000-fold the number of facts, which would overwhelm the untrained memory. One must model one's mind on the arrangement of the ends of the nerve fibers and the brain. At will! Here is the great key to proper selection. That one should resolutely remember all facts that may be useful, and as resolutely forget all those impertinent. To the true way of one star in space. For so only can one economize the mnemonic faculty, and this is to say, no man can begin to train his memory duly until he is aware of his true will. There is then, as in all matters pertaining to the intellect, a vicious circle. For one can only become conscious of one's true will by judgment of samadhic intensity upon all facts that is the possible to assimilate. The resolution of the antimony is found ambulando, that is, by the selective training above indicated. A further complication of this whole question appears during the practice of yoga. When the sheaths being successfully stripped from the mind, one begins to remember not only long forgotten facts,